8 minutes going up to 6 o'clock, still grappling with the alleged suicide of Vanessa Wint. You heard the Minister of National Security there and the Commissioner of Corrections, Colonel Sean Prendergast. Listening while they were speaking were Executive Director of Jamaicans of Justice, Dr. Carolyn Gomes, and Coordinator of the Master's Program in Social Work at the UW-Limona campus, Dr. Peter Ann Baker. Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. First of all, Dr. Gomes, you heard the explanation of the Minister. The facility at South Camp will be ready sometime next year. Your reaction?
How disappointing, Chris. How disappointing that we are spending so much energy defending unsatisfactory, that we know are unsatisfactory conditions and situations. How very disappointed that we should take umbrage, that we should be offended as a people, that a 16-year-old girl should die in the custody, and you want to tell me those surroundings are as good as we can make them? I am so disappointed. I am so offended. I don't know what to tell you again.
It's a peeve of the day.
For treatment of juveniles, the minimum standards for incarceration, the Child Care and Protection Act say we must separate juveniles on remand, juveniles in need of care and protection, juveniles convicted. They say we must separate juveniles from adults, preferentially in separate facilities. They say the children must be given education and outside exercise. And you're going to tell me that you can spend your energy as Minister of National Security defending this and offending the rest of us for asking questions?
You are in a position, Dr. Gomes, where people come to you with reports. You heard the National Security Minister a short while ago saying he really visited some of these adult facilities, and based on what he has seen, there's no real way possible for the children to come in contact with the adults. Is that your
rubbish?
report?
That is absolute rubbish. I can't speak to Horizon, but I can certainly tell you that the girls and the women interact at Fort Augusta all the time.
Well, Colonel Prendergast did say that. Dr.
All the time. And the juveniles on remand and the girls in need of care and protection are mingled and mixed, and the ones who are convicted are mingled and mixed as well.
And that can't be good.
It is wrong.
That can't be.
You get young children who are in need of care and protection being raped by hardened women.
Oh? Raped?
Raped.
Oh?
Yes, raped.
My God.
And now we want to spend energy defending it. That facility at South Camp, those who have been on the tour have been told that when they move them, it will not be ideal because they'll still have to share some facilities. But they plan in the future to fix it up. We are not accepting this anymore.
Dr. Peter Ann Baker? You're into this as an area, as an expert. What do you make of this?
Well, all of what Carolyn has said and the unacceptable, but the other thing for me is that they have an alternative. They can go back to the court, certainly for the children who have not committed an offense. And let me say, first and foremost, being so uncontrollable should not be an offense.
Absolutely, Peter.
One of the most backward colonial pieces of legislation that should have belonged to it should have been on the list of pieces of legislation the Minister of Justice took to the House last week to wipe off the books. Okay?
And when the law was being passed, I know
anything about child development or any of these things. And so we know a lot more about child development. We know a lot more about the impact of the exposure to violence and all of these things. So that's the first point. No child should be deemed uncontrollable and committed to any kind of institution that has bars and warders. That's the first point. You can go to the court. If the biological parent cannot manage, then the Child Development Agency says it has all of this kinship care and living in family environment program. These are the children that you need to devote the resources to finding them kinship care, put them with an aunt or whatever, and provide the specialist resources in the community setting. All the literature all over the world says an institution is the worst place to put a child.
It appears
a bad family is better than an institution.
It appears the matter is in need of some reinforcement. Dr. Baker, tell us, based on your work, what is the impact you have observed? What is the accepted norm based on children mingling with adults, hardened criminals in these facilities?
No, I don't have. We don't. Well, you don't have. That's self-evident. The answer to that is quite self-evident. I mean, you know that the people learn. The song says, "Children learn what they live." So, you're putting them at risk of harm. You're violating them even further. You're exposing them to greater violence. You mean that the way that I put it to people, I said, children who are exposed to violence rewires your brain. It reduces your ability to distinguish right from wrong. So the more violence we expose our children to in the community or in the institution means that they're going to come out even angry and hurting even more. So that, to me, the issue is not about the evidence. The evidence is there. Professor Sam Vaughan, all of these people have done that. The point is there are options, and I think we need to say to the policymakers, you have options. Judges must refuse to deal with cases about this child is uncontrollable. And this is not a new phenomenon. Okay? People don't understand adolescence and all of these things, so that when the child is having the adolescent situation, they think, okay, I will hand it over to the nanny state. Or you have children now who have deep-seated behavioral problems, psycho-emotional problems. We need to allocate the resources. Nowadays, we have child guidance clinics. If you were to pick a child an appointment at a child guidance clinic now, try to do that. You're talking about getting an appointment for next year, March or something.
But Dr. Baker, the minister said it. They don't have the resources to do.
I'm not even going to go through him.
Why?
Because we will find the resources to do the things that we deem important. Children, poor people's children are not important. They are not valuable. And we need to stop as a society. Something like this happens, and we freak and we carry on, and then it dies down. We need to persist instead of doing yet another inquiry.
But you heard what the minister said when I put that to him, that we're descending to the lowest common denominator and being engaged in our pet peeve of the day.
Yeah, well, the minister can say all he has to say. I know people like me know how, some of us have been at this.